Hi, good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to begin with a new topic in macroeconomics. But before we do that, let me just give you one, frame of macroeconomics. Broadly speaking, the entire macroeconomics course can be divided in four main parts. First is the goods market, money market, ISLM curve, and the derivation of the AD curve. This is the first chunk of macroeconomics. This is what we have now completed. The second chunk of macroeconomics, which I intend to begin in this class, is where we talk about the labor market, the AS curve under different scenarios, and then other things like Phillips curve, like Okun's law, all of this part, employment, unemployment, inflation. This will be our second chunk. The third chunk that I intend to do, that is where we will introduce your international aspect. So redoing these equations, but including the net export, talking about the import functions and all, that part. Then going ahead and talking about what is Mundell-Fleming model, most important model, etc. The entire international economics. That's the third part. And finally, the last part is Devipo part, where we do different models like Solo, Haradomal, and others which are important. This is the fourth chunk of it. So what we have covered is the first chunk. What we begin now is the second chunk. In order to, before we go to the third chunk, I will also go ahead and I will give you one more aspect to macroeconomics. I have already started putting lectures related to that in the recorded section. I'm continuously recording those and I will keep updating that. Maybe by October end, you should have that part. That is on the expectational theory. You have to, look at the videos also related to this. So in that, I have already posted adaptive expectation, because I will use this concept in my Phillips curve somewhere. But other than that also, I'm covering this in much detail in those lectures. Very, very theoretical, but I wanted to cover. So adaptive expectations and rational expectations. I've done this. I will post this rational expectation in the upcoming week. So this chunk, you have to go ahead and listen to it yourself. So this is how majorly, there are some topics here, there also, which I'll try and cover. But these are the major topics that one should always cover to clear any exam. So let us now go ahead to the second chunk of macroeconomics and let us talk about this labor side of macroeconomics. So please write down. We are going ahead and we are talking about the topic for today is aggregate supply curve under different assumptions. And in that, let us write down the first one. So we are assuming that we have a perfectly competitive market. Then we are assuming that we have profit maximizing producers. The capital stock, this is all assumptions, is given in short run. Right? Now, based on the assumption, supposedly you're given a production model. So you are given a basic production function that Y is a function of labor and capital. And you're given currently, because this is short run, so capital stock is given to you, which means I will assume capital is constant. So K is K bar. Now, we know some of the rules of, marginal productivities, that we have diminishing marginal productivity. Diminishing marginal productivity means that marginal productivity in itself is positive, but it is declining. So what is marginal productivity? When you differentiate your production function with respect to labor and your production function with respect to capital. This is marginal productivity of labor. This is marginal productivity of capital. This in itself is greater than 0. But this is diminishing. Diminishing, whenever I say something diminishes, means its slope is less than 0. So when I differentiate marginal productivity again, this is the slope. This is less than 0. When I differentiate marginal productivity of capital again, this is less than 0. So what we get is that Fn is greater than 0, Fk is greater than 0, Fnn is less than 0, Fkk is less than 0. Although I don't intend to change capital because it is short run, but if at all you change capital, then the diminishing marginal productivity rule will follow. Then we also assume that factors are cooperative. Many times in your exam, they will not mention the meaning of cooperativeness. But whenever I say that factors are cooperative, it means that the productivity of one factor increases when the other factor increases. So which I mean that, so in terms of language, it means that marginal productivity of labor will increase when capital increases, and vice versa, that marginal productivity of capital will increase when labor increases, something like this. So we are saying that, okay, what is marginal productivity of labor? It is how output changes as labor changes, which is Fn. And now we are asking, how is this changing as capital is changing? So how is this Fn changing as capital is changing? This is greater than 0. So which means that we are saying Fn, marginal productivity of labor, when differentiated with respect to capital, this is greater than 0, or Fkn, this is also greater than 0. This is the meaning of saying that the factors are productive and cooperative. Not productive, sorry, cooperative. Now, we want to go ahead and we want to assume some more things. So, we will assume that we have constant production function. Because it is perfectly competitive market, right? And we know that one property of CRS, constant returns to scale production function, is zero profit. And zero profit combines with perfect competitive market. So we will assume constant production function. And we will say that f of lambda k lambda n. This is nothing but lambda times f of k. This is constant returns to scale, CRS. Then let us go ahead and write down the profit condition of this firm. So for this firm, the profit can be given by revenue minus cost. Revenue is price into quantity. So I can rewrite this thing as PY minus W. Labor here I am representing by N. Many books, including Dornbusch, would refer labor by N also. So it's up to you whether you want to represent it by, because labor is the employed people in the organization. So they, in the economy. So they use N also. Sometimes they use E also. So Wn minus Rk bar. I want to go ahead and I want to maximize this profit. Even though my profit, I know profit maximized is 0. I get 0 profit in the long run. That's my economic profit as perfectly competitive market. Still, the aim of any producer is profit maximization. So here also, even though I am this, I'm also profit maximizing producer. So I will differentiate this profit function, equate it to 0, and see where I maximize my profit. So let's write this down. This is P into, instead of Y, output is a function of labor and capital. So I'm going to go ahead and write this as function of labor and capital minus Wn minus Rk. Now, how my profit changes? As labor changes, this will be P into Fn minus W is equal to 0. So I will get Fn is equal to W by P. This is your profit maximization condition. If you notice, this is saying that the marginal product of labor must be equal to the real wage. So we can say that this tells me how much labor will I demand. I will demand labor such that the marginal product of labor is equal to the real wage that the labor gets from the organization. This can also be called as the demand of labor equation. Just remember that this Fn is diminishing. So if I have to go ahead and make this is marginal product of labor. It is falling. Suppose I have to make a constant real wage, which is W by P. So this will be the demand of labor. Now just think that what is going to happen as your wage is going to increase. So if your wage increases, suppose this is W by P dash, if the real wage increases, then the demand of labor would decrease. So as real wage increases, the demand of labor decreases, which means demand of labor can be plotted as a downward sloping curve. The more the wage the organization has to give, the less the labor it is going to demand. Now, what we can therefore go ahead and do is something like this.